Now that you're a little familiar with your Choose Your Own Adventure, I'd like to show you the story template that we're going to be using in class. The first thing I want to point out is right here. You're going to be using pronouns like you and your and you've instead of I. That way, the reader is choosing their adventure, which is the purpose of a Choose Your Own Adventure. So, this document has a lot of different Google tables in it, and we worked with tables a little bit during our travel brochure. So you're going to see some of the things that you saw before where the table drops down to the next page, even though you don't need it to. The reality is you're going to be typing in these boxes, so it's going to get all over the place, but it's just a place to store your ideas, so that's completely okay. So this does say that each color represents a different slide. It's not really true, it's each box, but go with the color. You're going to follow the directions for each of the boxes, and your focus is to tell your entire story using this graphic. We'll work on building the slides and the links at a later time. So, eventually, you will be getting a slide deck from us. It'll have 25 slides, and as you scroll down here, you'll notice that this has 25 slides. So, here's how it works. The first slide is just says choose your own adventure and has your name. And I built a sample so you can see. Here's slide 1, choose your own adventure, and it has my name. Slide 2 is the title. I'm going to jump over here. That's the title. It's a working title. I might get more adventurous later, but for right now, that's my title. Slide 3 is the start of my story. Slide 4, my story continues, and I offer my reader their first choice. Choice 1, choice 2. It could be a question, it could be a choice, however you want to word it. And then at this point, you'll notice that the table starts getting divided left-right. I would recommend that you work strictly on the left-hand side and finish the stories there and then come back to the right. So what I mean by that is I'm going to show you my example. So my story is called The Family Vacation. Slide 3 is your parents come in with the best news ever. Your mom's just received a bonus from work and you're going to go on a trip. That was the good news, but the best part was yet to come. You got to decide where you were going. There were so many options, but you narrowed it down to 2. So that's my story. And then here's my questions or my options. You decided to go on a Caribbean cruise, or you decide to fly to Hawaii. So this is my left side. This is my right side. I'm going to focus on this side and finish. So I started this, I've played with it a little bit, and then I stopped because I felt like there was a couple of things that I learned that would be important to pass on. So here we go. You're going on a Caribbean cruise. Next slide. See how it says link to slide 5? Slide 5. Your mom decided to invite her sister and family so you would have cousins to hang out with. The trip was booked and it was time to head for the airport. Soon we were in Florida getting onto our ship. Now I'm on slide 7. I'm going to scroll down. Slide 7 is my second question. So I'm going to add to my story and then I'm going to give choices. My choices here are a little bit bulky, but we'll talk about that. The first thing you decide to do once you're aboard was to book an excursion to swim with the dolphins. The next day was your day you've been dreaming of all your short life. You were going to swim with the dolphins. You woke up, got dressed, and headed down to the buffet for breakfast with your cousins. So I have 2 food choices here. You eat your normal breakfast and go on your excursion. You decide to try a little of everything and even that thing that you had no idea what it was. So the rest of my slides here aren't done. I'm going to tell you why. Originally, here, these were not my choices. My choices were what was I going to do when I first got on the ship? Was I going to go to the excursion place and book my Swim with the Dolphins tour, or was I going to just go to the buffet and eat lunch? But then as I was carrying on with my story, I realized it ends so quickly and I had no good information. So I stopped and I went down here to the end because remember slide 25 is the end. So this is the last slide of the left-hand side of this one. So I went in and did the shark continues to attack the cage. Eventually it bends the cage just enough to get its mouth 2 inches away from you. Luckily, in the nick of time, the captain of the boat pulls the cage up and you're safe. So it's like, okay, well, if that's where this goes, I now have to build backwards. What was my choice right before that? What was my story right before that? So here I am eating my normal breakfast. I decided that we would go on the excursion, that everything was really great. I decided I would take the chum bucket and be the person to throw the chum out, and the sharks start attacking. And here is how it ends. So, this would be that I did not have the chum bucket or something else happened. So, there's a point where for me, I had to stop and start planning backwards. So I'm not going to go ahead and finish this whole thing out, but I just kind of wanted to share that. I know this video is long. So once you have the left-hand side done, you would go back and do the right-hand side.